Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Omoti. Now today's video will be making this beautiful style you are seeing on the thumbnail. This is what you are interested in watching. Kindly watch to the very end. And if you are coming across my video for the first time, I say a very big thank you to you. Please subscribe, like and share. And if you have any questions for me, you can drop them at the comment section, and any suggestion will also be accepted. So my returning subscribers, I say a real thank you to you all. So let's dive into today's video. You fold your fabric this way in a triangular form. As you see me doing the video, you fold it in a triangular form. So after folding, that part that you see me touching should be the same thing you are seeing in the video. While folding, you should have the same thing you are seeing in the video. I've cut the back. I've cut the back. So I don't have intention of filming this video. I just feel like, okay, let me do it. So let me quickly show you what I did. So this is the front. I folded it in a triangular form. This is on fold. So the length I'm working with is 45. I added 1 inch for hemming allowance. So I'm measuring 46. Measure wherever you want the length of your gown to be. So for mine, I'm making use of 45 plus 1 inches. I will be adding 1 inches to it, making 46 inches. So at that point, I measured out my starting point. From that starting point, I measured out 6.5, which is the width of the neck. 6.5. If you're on a medium, use 6.5. If you're on a small size, you use 6 inches. On a medium, you use 6.5, 7 inches. If you're on a bigger size, are you getting me? You make use of 7, 8. So at that point, I measured out. At that 6.5, I came down by 2 inches. So and I connected it to the 6.5 width. Can you see what I'm doing in the video? So that is it. So from that point, I'll be measuring the shoulder. So measure wherever you want your sleeve to start from. So for mine, I make use of 12 inches for mine. Are you getting me? Measure where you want your shoulder to start from. So from that 12 inches, I measure my sleeve opening, which I'm making use of 8 inches. You measure the round sleeve where you want, how free you want it to look like. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm using 8 inches for my client. So at that point, I will now be connecting it down to the tip of the dress. Are you getting me? Just follow what I'm doing. The chalk is not showing, but just follow what I'm doing here. So I'll be connecting it from that sleeve opening, which is 8 inches. From that 8 inches point, I'll connect it all the way to the down part this way. So then I'll cut it out following my chalk. Please, this is the front. The front is low. So this I'm using 2 inches for the depth of the front, while the width of the neck is 6.5. So after doing that, this is the back. I've gone ahead to cut out the back, and I'm using 7 inches in depth for the back, 7 inches depth for the back, while the front is 2 inches in depth and the width is 6.5. So I'll be following this shape that I have here to cut out the front also, so that I can have equal sizes. So this is me. I'll be cutting it out the same thing I cut on the back. I'll be cutting it also. So this is it. I'm gonna to cut it out. This is exactly what you should have. So for the back, I make use of 7 inches for the neck depth. Are you getting me? If you want it more low than that, you can do that. But for mine, I make use of 7 inches for the neck depth. So the next thing to do is to start joining. I'll be opening it up this way. Can you see what we have? We should be having like a heart shape. Can you see how it's looking like? So the next thing to do now is to measure. From that point, you measure out your 12 inches or whatever inches you use. You measure 12 inches. Are you getting me? Measure where you want your sleeve length to stop. So that's mine. So from there, I will be sewing from the neckline to that 12 inches. Then I will stop. So from that point, I'll measure out my what's it called? I'll measure out my sleeve opening, which is 8 inches. Measure yours, whatever you have, measure it out. So and I'll be notching that part. And you see, that's where my sleeve opening is stopping. That's my 8 inches. So measure yours too, whatever you have, measure it out. So that place, I will not be sewing that part. So now I'll now start my sewing from that part. And you see, I will sew from the neckline, and I will be stopping at that 8 inches. So I'll be leaving that 8 inches opening. That's serving as my sleeve opening. Are you getting me? So I'll be folding it by half an inch at that point. I'll be folding it inward by half an inch. I'll do that to both sides. So from that part, I'll now sew it down to where my hip line is. I measure from the shoulder to my hip line. Wherever your hip line is, you measure and you notch that part. So to determine the width of the hip is divide your whatever you have on your hip, divide it by 4. Whatever the result is, multiply it by 2. For mine, the hip I'm working with is 42. Divided by 4 will give me 10.5. So times 2 will give me 21 inches. So that's what I have at that point. So whatever your hip is, divide it by 4. The result, multiply it by 2 for you to get your measurement. So I will be stopping the sewing at that hip part. Are you getting me? So from the hip part, I'll be hemming the side also by half an inch, and I will do the same thing to both side. I'll be sewing it down by half an inch. Can you see? Hemming it down by half an inch. So after that, our top is ready. So this is it. I've joined the sides. The next thing is to cut the cape. So I've joined the sides. I've aimed the sleeve opening also. Can you see this the shoulder, the sleeve opening? I've aimed that, and the down part also. I've also done. I've sewn that also. I've done that to both sides of the dress. Can you see? So the next thing to do now is to cut the cape. So I'll be cutting the cape. So you measure it round. You measure your cape. Please don't measure. You measure from that viewpoint all the way round. Don't measure it together, please. Try and measure them separately. Are you getting me? To get the actual measurement. So I've measured it around and I have 38. Are you getting me? So this is the fabric I'm using. It's on fold. Are you getting me? I have it in 4. Can you see? It's on fold this way. So the lengths I'm working with is to determine what to cut is whatever you get as the round neck measurement. Whatever you have, just multiply it by 2. Are you getting me? I mean divide it by 2. So you divide it by 2. For mine, I have 30 divided by 2 will give me 19. So to that 19 inches, I added extra 10 inches to it. So whatever your neck circumference is, divide it by 2. Are you getting me? And add 10 inches to it. So whatever you have, that's what you are going to fold. So that means if I have 19 plus 10 inches, which is 29, so I'll be multiplying that 29 times 2. So whatever the result is, that's what I will be cutting out. So I've cut it out and I've folded it into 2. So the length of the cape is 5 inches. I added half an inch to it to join it to the bodies, which is 5.5. So I measure out my 19 inches, which is that point you are saying, and I have an extension of 8 inches. So from the 19 inches to the 8 inches, and I connected with my ruler this way you seen in the video. Please, if you are confused, try and watch the video again. You will get what I'm trying to explain. Your cape measurements, divide it by 2, whatever the result is, add 10 inches to it and multiply it by 2. So that's what you are cutting out. You cut it on fold, please. You cut on fold. So at that point, I'm trying to add half an inch to it. So now I'll be cutting it out. So the next thing is to cut it out. So I'm going to cut it out now. This is it. So after cutting, this is what you should have. The next thing is the thing to do now is to join it. Please try and notch the center back. That place will be serving as our front, and while the other side is the center back. Please try and notch that part. So the next thing now to do is to join. I've used my pin to join it, to pin it down. You do the same thing. If you feel like you have excess, you can trim it off. So I've used my pin to secure it down. So let me show you how you are going to do it. You'll be placing your cape to the wrong side of the dress. Can you see? Your cape to the wrong side of the dress. So you place your cape to the wrong side of the dress and you pin it down the same way I'm doing. And just pin it down so that you'll be able to sew it down without shifting. So this is me. I've sewn it down. Please, we don't have light. Just bear with me, please. So I've sewn it. This is how it's looking. Can you see? If you have find this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up, like and share my videos for more. Thank you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.